Madhava Kunjabihara Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Kunjabi Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Yasodanandan Prajadana Yasodanandana Prajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paridavacharya Astatarasatasi Stimadis Divine Grace is Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Gora Premanandi. I hope you're ready for some philosophy. Devotional philosophy, but philosophy. Jiva Goswami has the reputation, his great scholars have written about him. Bhakti Siddhanta wrote about him. Never was there and never will there be a scholar of his magnitude. Besides the number of verses and the volumes of books that he wrote, the depth with which he took a topic and went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it is said he established the backbone of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the backbone or the heart, but the structure that supports the body of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. It's the teachings of Jiva Goswami. And of course, the teachings of Jiva Goswami are pursuing the teachings of Rupa and Sanatan. And the teachings of Rupa and Sanatan are the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he wrote commentaries, as did Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, wrote commentaries on these great acharyas, and established the details and gave scriptural support and so forth and so on. So that future generations, namely us, can get a glimpse of Lord Chaitanya's teachings, the effectiveness of hearing and living by these teachings. So this topic that we're going to be speaking about this evening is from Bhakti Sandarbha. It's just 3 anucheds or little divisions and a little subtopic, Bhakti Shakti's effect upon the source of bhakti. And it's not just like a pun, it's go ahead. This is taken from Jiva Goswami's commentary on Bhakti Sandarbha. So he wrote Bhakti Sandarbha, and then he went back around and wrote a commentary on Bhakti Sandarbha. So it's in the Bhakti Sandarbha section, and Bhakti Shakti's effect upon the source of bhakti. So here we go. This is the conclusion of the 3 verses. This is it. Bhagavan is the soul cause of bhakti. Bhakti descends into a living being by the grace of Bhagavan. Bhagavan's grace in the form of bestowing bhakti upon a jiva is very special, because bhakti attracts and pleases even Bhagavan himself, although he is eternally complete in and of himself. So it's a contradiction, or apparent contradiction. He's complete. Atma Rama, complete. Purnam, complete. Completely complete. Eternally completely complete. And he becomes, his completeness expands or takes on another dimension. We'll hear the details from Jiva Goswami. Different kinds of completeness within Bhagavan. So going back, bhakti bestows bliss even on Bhagavan himself. So here's his statements. He'll give scriptural references. Bhagavan is intrinsically self-endowed with ladani, the delight-giving potency. This is Bhanu Swami's translation, which is an aspect of his Swarup Shakti, the potency that constitutes his very nature. So let's go back. Parasya Shakti Vivadaiva Shruyate, that the source of everything has unlimited Shaktis. Parasya Shakti, and they're all transcendental. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. And it's through these intrinsic potencies, his own self-potency, Swarup Shakti, there's divisions. What are those three divisions? Sandini, Samvit, Ladini. Samvit, Sandini, and Ladini. The knowledge-giving potency, the existential potency, and the pleasure potency. These are three divisions or components of his Swarup Shakti, his Swarupa Shakti, the potency that constitutes his very nature. So of those three, one is the Ladini Shakti. It is this Ladini that conveys bliss to him and to others, just as light emanating from a luminous object illuminates both itself and other objects. Now, this is something, you've seen this image before, if you've heard my classes. This is a reference from the Upanishads describing the living entity as both luminous and illuminates things, like a lamp is luminous, and pots and plates within the room are illuminated by the light of the lamp. The jiva is both conscious and possesses consciousness. That is to say, so the living entity is within the body, and it enlivens or illuminates or animates the body, and consciousness of the soul extends out. And so we can see things and hear things and smell things, and through the senses it gathers, but consciousness is extended that way also into the physical realm and into the spiritual realm, because the living entity is tiny consciousness, tiny spark. So as the jiva has both conscious and consciousness, so the supreme bhakti itself is the supreme functional capacity. That's a nice English phrase. The Sanskrit is parama vritti, of this intrinsic potency. So the intrinsic potency is Swarup Shakti. And bhakti is the functional capacity, or paramavritti, of this intrinsic potency. You have to be a good Sanskrit translator to translate Jiva Goswami. So he's something like a lawyer building a case. And we're not the judge, but we're sitting in the audience watching the lawyer do his lawyering. Bhagavan remained eternally situated in his fullness while constantly transmitting this potency of bhakti to his devotees. Then, by contact with his own bliss-giving potency in the form of the bhakti situated in his devotees, he experiences still greater delight. He who is already full becomes more full. So he doesn't stop there. He keeps going. Although Bhagavan is the embodiment of joy, Sukha Rupa, his pleasure increases in contact with the bhakti of his devotee. So he is the source of bhakti, and he doesn't do so directly. He does through his Ladini Shakti, who expands his Bhakti Devi, and Bhakti Devi empowers somebody, primarily the Madhyama Bhakta, to distribute bhakti. This is another or a further explanation given by Vishwanath in Madhurya Kandamani. The Madhyama Bhakta is enjoined by Scripture to preach to the innocent or extend bhakti to the innocent. And do not do the same for those who are offenders, the atheists. But those who are innocent, extend bhakti. And where did they get the bhakti to extend? They got it from one who has bhakti. And where did that person get from keeping tracing it back and back? The source of bhakti is the source of everything. Bhagavan is the source of bhakti. And as he is the source of everything. Through agencies, through Bhakti Shakti and through Vladini Shakti and through his Swarup Shakti and different terminologies, but it's him or it's his bestowing. And when the embodiment of joy or Shuka Rupa sees or experiences the bhakti that's within his bhakta, his joy increases. Here's the example given by Jiva Goswami, 2 examples. Just as someone who may worship the Ganges by offering Ganges unto the Ganges. Thank you very much. Or one who's the worshiper of the sun, they offer a lamp unto the sun. But what's a lamp? It's fire. And where's the sun is fire? Where does fire of the lamp come from? From the sun. So worship the sun by offering some fire or flame, lamp. So both of those examples, bhakti is offering that which is Krishna's back unto Krishna. Bhagavan is the sole cause of bhakti within the jiva, and bhakti is an offering of that bhakti or loving service to the source of bhakti. So here's the apparent contradiction. How can he, who is already full in himself, Atmarama, expand his blissfulness? So there's some technical terminology. Bhagavan is supremely blissful by nature, yes. This bliss, his bliss, or blissfulness, is of 2 types. Intrinsic, Sarupananda, and the second is the bliss that is transmitted through the potency stemming from his essential being, Sarup Shakti Ananda. So him and his Shaktis. One can say, wait a minute, the Shakti and Shaktiman are not different. They're not different, and they're different. That's Lord Chaitanya's teaching. And by acknowledging Lord Chaitanya's teaching and experiencing the impact of that teaching, one can experience a happiness that's beyond liberation or beyond Vaikuntha, the cessation of material existence and the experience of positive spiritual existence and the majesty of the Supreme, who is the source of everything, and beyond that which is on the material side into the spiritual side. But so this Achintya Bheda, just say it again, the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy, like what you see on the screen here, these 2 different types of bliss or ananda of the Supreme Lord, his own intrinsic bliss and the bliss derived from or stemming from his essential being and his Shaktis, which are extending from him, like that example of consciousness, extending from the luminous, the light within the room, extending from the lamp. By virtue of the former, now this is Jiva Goswami, this is Bhanu Swami's cut and paste translation of what Jiva Goswami writes on this topic in Bhakti Sandarbha. By virtue of the former, that's his essential being, the intrinsic bliss of his essential being, by the virtue of this essential bliss of his intrinsic being, Bhagavan relishes the bliss of his own constitutional nature. By the latter, he first transmits his own bliss potency to his devotees, and then relishes that bliss present within them through loving reciprocation with them. So it's a two-way street, not a one-way street. Bhakti isn't just what we do for Krishna, it's the reciprocate. It's a loving exchange. Genuinely, a loving exchange, transcendently, thus, genuinely. Not the replica, the reflection of, but the actual thing. Loving exchange. And it's so he's experiencing bliss, but that bliss that he's experiencing in his devotee has come from him. Thus, when Bhagavan conveys his bliss potency to his devotees, that's this bliss potency, that's Hladini Shakti. So she expands. And one of those expansions is Bhakti Devi. And Bhakti Devi expands. And Bhakti Devi, through those expansions, she empowers bhaktas, devotees, to receive bhakti from her, and then it manifests the instruction or the service to give bhakti to others. But Bhagavan's the source of those that give and those that are giving to others. Bhagavan conveys his bliss potency to his devotees, and they serve him out of love. He feels even greater bliss than when simply experiencing the bliss of his own being. The contradiction, the apparent contradiction, hopefully has become resolved. If it's helpful, we can go through it one more time. You're nodding. You'd like to go through it one more time. Okay. Om Purnamadak Purnamidam. We all know the verse. So he's complete. There's nothing absent in him. His full in his completeness. So one of those is his bliss, or his ananda. And he's fully blissful within himself. This is an intrinsic bliss. He doesn't have to do something or go somewhere or acquire something. It's intrinsic. Swarupa Ananda. Swarupa Ananda is from his form. And it's full and complete. And there's an additional bliss that exists and that he experiences. That's a bliss transmitted through the potency stemming from his essential being. So part of his essential being is Swarup Shakti. And one feature of his Swarup Shakti is Hladini Shakti. So as that Hladini Shakti gives him bliss, she, under the order of Bhagavan, expands as Bhakti Devi, and Bhakti Devi then empowers bhaktas with bhakti and gives them the instruction, distribute this bhakti that you received from me to others. And so there are a lot of jivas, some number of jivas, here and there, carrying bhakti from Bhagavan ultimately. And when they lovingly serve him, his happiness increases. In a different category than his intrinsic happiness, it's his Swarup Shakti Ananda. His happiness is unlimited, complete happiness. It expands. And part of the explanation, an essential part of Jiva Goswami's explanation, is because there are two categories of bliss. His intrinsic and that which is of his Swarup Shakti. So, one idea is we don't need Radharani. We just worship Bhagavan. Haribol. And there's another idea that says we don't just worship Bhagavan. We worship Bhagavan along with his consort, his Shakti, by different names, according to the form of Bhagavan. So Lakshmi, Narayan, Sitaram, Radha, Krishna, and then Radha's expansions. Who assist Radha and give pleasure to Krishna and to Radharani. So it's that collective combination of the expansion of Swarup Shakti and the Ananda that they carry, and when they are engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna's intrinsic bliss, Ananda, expands, or because it's now of an additional nature, aside from that which is already there. So read the last part again. Thus, when Bhagavan conveys his bliss potency to his devotees, and they serve him out of love, he feels even greater bliss than when simply experiencing the bliss of his own being. Srila Prabhupada wrote in a letter to Rukmini, Bhakti Devi is the expansion of Srimati Radharani. So there's Radharani on our left, and there's Bhakti Devi, at least an artistic rendering of Bhakti Devi, on our right. And she's Radharani's expansion, and she does all kinds of things. There's the image again. Bhagavan's Ladini Shakti conveys bliss to him as well as to others. And then when the others engage in loving service, that expands his bliss. That was one Anucheta out of 3. Bhakti magnifies Bhagavan's intrinsic bliss, which is very similar. Although intrinsically Atmarama, Bhagavan's mercy in the matter of bhakti occurs in precise accord. Yatarham, yatartam. So yata and artam. So how does that come? It comes in accord with their intention. So Krishna knows the intention because he's omniscient. And they want his pleasure. And through his pleasure in love, they derive pleasure in love. And Krishna experiences and he reciprocates in kind, or yatartam, with the intent, or sankalpa, the meditation, the absorption of the devotee, the petitioner here. This is so because when devotees worship Bhagavan, while praying that natural love for him will manifest in their hearts, Atmani, it is imperative that in fulfilling their request, he bestows love upon them that is both ontologically real and in precise accord with the actual intent of their prayer. This language is very essential. So, it's, to say in English what he's saying in Sanskrit is challenging for a translator. The main message in this Anuched is, because the one who has received Bhakti Shakti from sources that have it and can transmit it and have transmitted it, then it's touched their hearts, and then those persons render some service in love, a selfless, loving mood, natural, selfless, loving mood. He is impelled by the nature of their love to reciprocate in kind, yatartham. It's customized or highly personal. And so Krishna is performing a pastime, and that pastime likely will touch the hearts of different participants in that pastime in different ways, because he's reciprocating in a customized way or a very personal way with each and every one. And fortunately, in the spiritual realm, there isn't envy. You want to hear that one again? In the spiritual realm, there's no envy. Tomorrow evening, we have a special seat for you. Come join us. No, just sit down and participate. Tomorrow evening, there's in China, tomorrow evening for us is Wednesday evening. Tomorrow evening for us, which is Wednesday evening, is Thursday morning in China. So we're having a China class, China Zoom class. And the topic is part one of this seminar on respect. The Vaishnava etiquette. And, I liked it so much, and others that heard it liked it so much. It's now in Chinese, or, English Chinese. So we're going to go through. And the theme of the 8, 10, 12 parts, depending on how it's divided, is bhakti is powerful, and bhakti has the power to dissolve the subtle body, including the most subtle of the subtle body, the false ego. And there are forces that are powerful enough to block the power of bhakti. And envy is numero uno, because it's the exact opposite of love. Therefore, the description of Jiva Goswami and our acharyas is there's 6 faults, and of them, the one that's the most insidious is envy, because the other 5 can be dovetailed in Krishna service, and there's no space to dovetail envy. There's no envy. When the gopis were young girls and they're worshiping Katyayani, they all did the same thing together. They offered the same prayer together. They worshiped the same deity together with the desire that Krishna will become their husband. No envy. Later, they're a little bit older. Krishna's performing rasa dance. And they're arm in arm, and there's one Krishna. And they're all desiring the same thing. There's no envy. There's no envy. In the spiritual world. In the material world, there's envy. There's other things, but so to get to the spiritual world, you can't hold on to envy. It has to dissolve, it has to disappear. And bhakti has the power, but envy has the power to block the power of bhakti in degrees. And for those that don't have envy, how does Krishna reciprocate? The message here is precisely in accord with their desire for loving service, he manifests that loving relationship with them within their hearts. So there can be multiple. But and he's personally exchanging. He's the same form, but personally exchanging with the hearts of the many worshippers. Or he may manifest a different form. Or, he is very flexible. Of his age, of his this, and his, this and that. Like there in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's a nice pastime. There's many. One of those nice pastimes was in Dwarka, Krishna detected some pride in Garuda. So he wanted to show him what's that condition of devotion that's free from pride. So to do it, he sent him to find Hanuman. And please inform Hanuman that I would like to see him. So he's in Dwarka. And so he went to Kim Purusha Varsha and conveyed the message, Krishna would like to see you. And he was like disinterested. And Garuda was like upset. Krishna wants to see you and you're like disinterested? Who doesn't want to see you and you don't? What's wrong with you? So Hanuman flipped his tail and Garuda went flying through the air. Garuda went and landed back in Dwarka and told Krishna what happened when he saw Hanuman. He was disinterested. He said, oh, okay. Tell him, go back and tell him Ramchandra is wanting his audience, please come. So the description is provided in Brihad Bhagavatamrita that Garuda went. And meanwhile, Krishna transformed himself into Ramachandra, and he wanted Rukmini to transform herself into Sita, and she couldn't. Satyabhama could. So Satyabhama assumed or accepted the form of Sita. And when Hanuman heard the same Garuda that he just sent flying through the air with his tail, Ramchandra would like to see you. Please come. So because Hanuman was even faster than Garuda. He got to Dwarka before Garuda did. And when he saw there's Ramachandra and there's Sita, he fell at their feet and was offering prayers, and then Garuda showed up. So later, Krishna said, I just wanted you to see the exclusive devotion of Hanuman. It was like, it's not like comparing, he's better than you, na 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 na. Not like that. Just that he has this very, very special focus, feature of devotion. And no pride. No material pride, spiritual pride, but not for himself, but pride in the personality of Godhead, who he's the servant of. Big difference. So that's just one of many examples. Krishna can assume any form, according to the aspirant. The one who's carrying love for Krishna, Krishna can manifest. We just heard over this weekend, even when Krishna was a little baby, because he's the supreme absolute truth, all phases of time and space are within him. So seeing young gopis, he developed the feelings of amorous love. And he was being scolded by different devotees. What kind of behavior is this? You're a little infant. Amorous love. Because not understanding his divinity, he was exhibiting symptoms, loving symptoms. Anyway, he manifests himself yatartam. This is Jiva Goswami's explanation. He bestows love upon them that is both ontologically real and in precise accord with the actual intent of their prayer. It is thus concluded that, although Bhagavan is the personification of bliss, his exaltation reaches a crescendo through devotion. Here's a nice little example of Yatarham. This is from Burijan's book, My Glorious Master. So Burijan, had the opportunity of being in Prabhupada's personal association for some period of time. Prabhupada just picked him up and engaged him. And after some time, Prabhupada gave him some service in Hong Kong. That's where you see the people seated next to Prabhupada and Burijan. And it was difficult. It was like super difficult for many reasons. And after some time, Burijan understood. He had this aspiration, Krishna, if you so desire, please give me the opportunity to have intimate association with my spiritual master. And voila, it was reciprocated with. And then there was another situation that unfolded. Here's his little prayer. Oh, Prabhupada, please let me serve you. My desire to serve you has increased. Please let me be your servant. Please let my service to you increase. So sometimes that was just bestowed on devotees for different reasons. Prabhupada saw something within them and engaged them. But in Burijan's case, it was a specific, according to his desire. There was some other details that happened later, but that's okay. Here's a nice prayer from the Nagapatnis, the Kaliya wives, Nagapatnis. There they are, Krishna's dancing on the hoods of the Kaliya serpent. And from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, they express, since you are the abode of contrary qualities, you should be merciful to Kaliya, who is also fit to be punished. Cool. I mean, it's very similar to what's directly in the Bhagavatam, but it's in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. He's our wife, he's our husband, and because he's done so many bad things, and here in Vrindavan, he's fit to be punished. At the same time, while you're the punisher of those who are fit to be punished, you're merciful. And because you're merciful, they're asking him to not be punished. Punish him as you see fit, but don't dance more on his hoods because he'll die. Please spare his life. Or another nice example, you recognize this painting. This is Rupa Goswami under a Kadamba tree near a Kadamba grove where he was writing whichever of the books he was writing. It's commonly said he was writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And on one particular occasion, it was his brother's birthday. So he didn't say anything, but he was meditating on my brother's birthday, I'd like to make some gift for him. And that's it. And then down the path came this young gopi who didn't identify herself, but he understood later who that gopi was. Just a young girl, and she brought a pot of milk and some ingredients, some rice and some sugar, some ingredients for making sweet rice. And she said, the standard thing, that the ladies in our village saw you sitting here and they wanted you to have this gift, so you please accept. So he said, this is perfect. This is my brother's birthday. I'll make some sweet rice for him. And then where this Ter Kadamba area is, where the grove of Kadamba trees is not far from Pavan Sarovar. Pavan Sarovar is a lake, and at the base of Nandagram, up on the hill, is the home of Nanda Maharaj, and at the bottom of the hill is a bathing place. So his brother, Rupa Goswami's brother, Sanatana Goswami, had a bhajan kutir in that vicinity. So Rupa Goswami made some arrangement, made some sweet rice, took the sweet rice to give it as a gift to his brother. And his brother was like, wow, you thought of me on my birthday, how nice. And the sweet rice, let me try it. And as he was tasting the sweet rice, he felt ecstasy. His hairs were standing on end, etc., etc., etc. And he was wondering, where'd you get these ingredients? So Rupa Goswami described how he got the ingredients. And Sanatana Goswami did the math real quick. 2 + 2 = 4. This is not just somebody in the nearby village. This is Srimati Radharani. The ecstasy of taking the sweet rice is unbelievable. However, unintentionally, what you've done is you've engaged me in accepting service from Srimati Radharani. And our life is to serve Srimati Radharani. So here we are taking service from I'm taking service from Radharani, and so did you. This is terrible. But the sweet rice is so good. Try some. So, yatartam. in exact accord with the desire of the living entity. And this is our last slide. When we have our festival of the holy name, you're going to see this slide again, because it's, at least for me, it's being present with the holy name. You know, if you're, one can chant inattentively or chant in different ways, distractedly. But one of the keys of chanting with attention, with absorption, is to recognize that when we're saying or vibrating Krishna's name, he hears and he comes and he's with us. Now, one may know that philosophically, but practically speaking, not be with Krishna when he comes. But it's certainly possible, and it's the intention of our bhakti practice, not just chanting, but anything that's bringing us in direct contact with Krishna, like deity worship. To be present with the activity of worshiping the deity. It's a very personal exchange. And one can do the procedures fastidiously without any real feeling. And that can go on for a long time. But the feelingness doesn't mean disregard the procedures, but while doing the procedures with deity worship or anything else. Performing kirtan, whether it's the music part or the singing part or the responding part, it's anything that's in relation to Krishna. Be present with Krishna, because Krishna, by your engaging in that service to Krishna, he understands what you're doing and he's present. So it's a reciprocation. Know that he's present and be present with him, knowing that here he is. As opposed to the other, mechanical thing, where we just go about our business of being materialists, or we're practicing bhakti but not really being present with the Supreme Person. And that's a very slow process. So the image is meant to me at least, it's that there's the ocean of material existence, and Krishna is helping us cross the ocean of material existence. That little boy sitting there, that's us, or me. And Krishna's helping us cross the ocean of material existence. And we're not alone, he's there. There are many, too many situations where devotees are experiencing distress due to one cause or another. And because of that distress, they forget, what they're doing. They forget the purpose of forget Krishna's presence. They get lost and feel sorry for themselves, or feel sorry, they're angry towards others, or something. So the bhakti process is this. And it's exactly back to the starting point. Bhakti Shakti's effect upon the source of bhakti. Krishna is the source. He's the Shaktiman, so he's the source of his own Shaktis. And his own Shaktis bestow bhakti, and then it's for the happiness of Krishna, and Krishna enjoys the happiness of his devotee, so his happiness increases. Like that, Prabhupada describes it. It's an ever-increasing escalation when it's done properly. I'll end with this. I just 2 days ago received a message from one devotee in China, and they don't speak English, but they know how to use artificial intelligence, and they say something and have it transcribed into English. Then they send a little note. So they said they 2 days ago they were chanting their 16 rounds, faithfully as always, and something happened. They felt some special happiness and joy, and they just got lost in chanting, and they chanted for the rest of the day. And it was this. They went for a ride. Krishna took them for a bhakti ride, and they did exactly. They didn't start like hey, what's going on? They just were participating. They were being present with Krishna and enjoying being in the presence of Krishna, or being present with Krishna. And then the day ended. The day was over. So they were wondering, is this going to happen again? And it's not like it's special experiences like that. It's in Krishna's hand. It's not a routine by any means. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Being present with Krishna doesn't mean we place demands on him. He's got to perform for us. But in that subjective experience of feeling, I'll go back to this one. I am here with you. It's a different feeling. I'm not alone feeling. In all circumstances, every step, every breath, everything. He's accessible. We just have to. This yatartam. We have to want that sense of connectedness, as opposed to forgetfulness. And when that happens, Krishna's happiness increases. He who is unlimited already becomes more than unlimited. So there's a little Jiva Goswami lesson. 3 Anuchets out of Bhakti Sandarbha. Any discussion? Yeah?
Guru Maharaj, thank you for the class, and please accept my humble obeisances. So I just want to clarify one of my understanding, like how Bhakti Shakti expands bliss in Krishna, the latter part of it. Is that true that when we extend bhakti to others, that will also increase our bhakti?
It will also do what?
Increase our bhakti too.
Well, how does anything increase? In by laws of nature, something that's alive can increase. Like, a seed can become a plant, can become a tree, can become bearer of more seeds by nature's arrangement, with the right elements combining with that seed. So, with that picture, say your question again, because it's not that for our quality of bhakti to increase, it's dependent. Where it's not independent. It's not something I do something and I get something. It's not like that. We certainly do something, but it's not my doing something has therefore generated an increase of bhakti. That's not what relationships are not like that. Relationship with Krishna is not like that. But it's a relationship. So like Lord Chaitanya prays, you can embrace me, you can neglect me, you can trample upon me, you can do with me whatever you like. Now that's a very elevated status of bhakti. That's the prema bhakti stage. It doesn't matter. It's the relationship, and he can do with me what he likes. I'm his, and he's mine. It's not like if he doesn't do X, Y, Z, then I don't know about him. See you later, Charlie. It's not like that. So that's on the prema stage. So to expand to the prema stage, yes, bhakti is increasing, and that increases Krishna extending his mercy and our reciprocating with that mercy that he is extending. And then, so that's the relationship. But the mercy may come in other form besides, the yummy kind. That's also mercy. We heard a lot about that over the weekend. You okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Just another question.
Okay.
So on this yatharthan topic, the intent of a sadhaka, without, what I was thinking is without Lord's grace, not even a blade of grass can move. So I was thinking wherever we are at this position today in our bhakti life, it is everything because of the Lord's mercy on us. And because I'm failing to recognize that mercy, I feel the advancement in my spiritual life is not as much as it may need to be.
Well, then I have a question about in response to your question. What's the criterion that says I'm making advancement? And then the criterion that says I'm not making advancement. In many cases, those yardsticks are material. That's not advancement. But that's the boundary or the system that we're used to measuring things with. I feel, and it's I'm at the center. That's not the pinnacle of advancement, or not a measure of advancement. So then there's the beginning, and then there's the elevated, and there's this big space in between. We make little ventures into the big space in between, and then doesn't stay there because we have our affinity for the temporary. Like this devotee that had this, chanting all day long. They didn't know what happened with the time. They just were so absorbed in chanting. And that's not going to happen every day. It didn't happen the next day. So one can be recipient of special mercy, but it's not the measure of that special mercy is that in any you can do with me what you like. And it's okay. Then it's like Prahlad or Dhruva. I just want one thing. What's the one thing? stay engaged in your service and the association of your devotees. Like Narada, they're those that are very merciful, magnanimous, and Narada doesn't always pat you on the head. Narada may say whatever Narada's going to say. And that's okay. I want that association. So that's advancement. And how to move further towards that which is real advancement as opposed to what, the temporary. It's not that what real advancement is. You have to pay the price. Tapo Divyam, the language that Prabhupada liked a lot, Rishabh Dev's teaching. The willingness, the Divyam, the tapa, is in his language, it was just simply the four regular principles. But, not doing things, you go a little further, not doing things that are unbeneficial for bhakti. And then positive, doing the things that are going to enhance bhakti. That's surrender. Anukulyasya so padikulyasya varjanam. You make those distinctions, you stay with it, powered by, I want Krishna to be pleased. I want to be in that, this yatartam, once again. I want this relationship of pure devotion. I want to experience that. I want to be situated there and stay there. Really? Are you sure? And then comes the tests of life. So real advancement is it's quite okay. Just one thing. Mami kam sharanam. That's it. You sure that's it? What about okay. Anyone else? Any your thoughts or discussion? Yes, in the back.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. This was a very deeply foundational subject matter, and thank you for sharing this with us. Two things stood out particularly for me. One was the Anuched 143, which I would touch upon later. But before that, I was intrigued by two words that were used. One was the functional capacity, which was translated to param vritti.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was thinking that in the English adjective that has been used is kind of a categorical, and its translation in Sanskrit seems like a comparative degree, and it was intriguing. Functional capacity.
It's right on the screen.
Yeah. So it's a to me it is suggesting that it's a category of capacity, and its translation is parama, which is a superlative or a comparative degree, and it is telling me that the topmost which is what usually is parama.
Well, that's it. That's right there. The supreme functional capacity. The parama is not the functional capacity. Vritti is the functional capacity.
Okay.
And parama is the supreme. So amongst vrittis, this is supreme vritti.
Okay. So functional capacity is actually vritti.
That's the vritti, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Maharaj, for that clarification. And the second thing was related to the Anuchhed 143, which, to my understanding or intellectual capacity, is difficult to understand because I'm not able to put it in, how should I say, a model. That when it is said that it is in proportion to the intent of the person who is requesting, then how can it be causeless? Because it is depending upon the intent.
Okay, that's not a problem. It's a relationship. We can't cause. There's no material cause. But there can be a spiritual relationship that has no material cause. And nothing material that can create it, nothing material that can check it. That's causeless. But there's something from our side that's if it's not material, but an aspiration for serving or pleasing or something in relation to Krishna. Then that's it. There's nothing material involved in the whole activity or exchange. It's causeless. Even in this plane, it's causeless. It can be causeless. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have a few questions, but how much ever you want to take, Maharaj. I wanted to understand knowing and having faith versus feeling from the last slide.
This one? That one?
Yes.
Okay. The difference between faith and knowing and
Feeling.
feeling. Well, what do you mean by your question? Suppose, how do you get feeling? There's material and spiritual. So let's go to the spiritual. And when there's using Prabhupada's, one of Prabhupada's examples is an electric wire. You can find out if it's plugged into the socket in the wall by touching the wire. And it looks like any other wire, but it could be one that's plugged in, one that's not. So that's the feeling. That's the subjective experience. And then there's the object of the subject. So there's the knowing. Supposing I know something. I know that if I chant Hare Krishna without offense, Krishna will be pleased, and there'll be some experience connected with that chanting without offense. Nam namakari bahuda nija. So there's the experience, but yeah, there can be knowing that doesn't have that experience.
I just wanted to little bit clarify my question also, Maharaj.
Yeah, please.
That in a difficult situation, many times you have complete faith that
faith.
Krishna is
Okay.
there. But that doesn't produce much feeling because it is not surprising.
Because it's not
Surprising.
surprising.
Because Krishna is there, always there. He is there.
Oh, you could say that it has no feeling. I disagree. If to know, because there's knowledge and faith, and then there's feeling. If you know, not just check the box in your Bhakti Shakti exam, but you know
it might produce feeling, maybe some tears for a
Shelter.
little bit, but why it is not causing that high enthusiasm of, intense service?
Okay, so you're asking a separate question. You're moving from the initial question to another question.
I mean, for me, it was related because when I'm feeling that gratitude, but for that moment, why it is just not, because I'm not feeling probably surprised that, okay, Krishna can anyways do it. He does it for his devotees and he's there.
Well, that's it. To you, this kind of thinking, I would say the following. It's not the depth of acknowledging that Krishna is merciful and Krishna is all present, everywhere present, and it's notional. It's not the same. It's conceptual, but it's not the same as the actual experience. You can say, well, it's not a big deal because he's everywhere present. If you had a real understanding, I think in contradiction to that, if you had that understanding, wow, it's a wow experience. It's not a everyday experience.
It takes you out of many miseries many times, and you have those experiences. And
Well, congratulations. So, and why? So, what's the difficulty?
is it my hard-heartedness that it doesn't produce that reciprocation?
No, it is producing the reciprocation. You're back to the starting point of your question. The connectivity is inadequate, and so it's not. There's something lacking on Krishna's side. There's something lacking on your side, and it's not the soham. Krishna's everywhere, and so there's no big deal. I'm sorry. It's not understanding that the Krishna is everywhere. It's not. Nice try.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. May I ask one or two more questions, Guru Maharaj? I was little. It was hard for me to understand in Anuched 143 the term ontologically real.
What you want to know what that means?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really real. That's another way of saying it's ontologically real. It's not just cosmetic, but it's foundationally, substantially, ontologically real. It's an entity that is real, as opposed to it's not real, as opposed to something material. It's of substance, spiritual substance, ontologically real.
And I was curious about the pastime of Garuda, that when he gets angry, I mean, it's not fair to map it with my situation, but I just want to learn and understand that if I get angry, if my spiritual authority is not sufficiently respected, then is there a fault in that?
No.
So what should I learn from this lesson? Because Garuda is angry because Lord Hanuman is not wanting to see Krishna.
Yeah.
But then he offended in one sense.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding.
He's not respecting. Garuda has his, and Hanuman has his. And they're not the same. And Garuda is not respecting. because you don't have mine. Your bhakti isn't mine. It's the same as my bhakti.
In ISKCON, like various gurus are there, and sometimes it might happen in devotee communities also that somebody might not respect other devotees' guru or
That's their problem.
my last question I have, like, you mentioned that Rukmini Devi couldn't become Sita. So I was curious that why.
It's very esoteric. The mood of Rukmini and the mood of Satyabhama are different. Rukmini is the very submissive type, and Satyabhama is the talk back type. And Krishna loves both. But it commonly amongst Vaishnavas, the love of Rukmini is honored especially. Commonly. Yes? Like the goddess of fortune. She is the goddess of fortune. Rukmini. So her fastidiousness to Lord Ramachandra, to her fastidiousness to Narayana is fixed. So she couldn't change because it's.
And Satyabhama?
She's frolicsome. She's ready to do whatever.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
They have a different mood. That's all. That's the main point. And Krishna doesn't love one less and love the other more because they have different natures. They have different natures.
Thank you.
Just a couple appreciations, Gurwaj. I'm noticing how even within just 10 days of landing from China, you've been traveling so much and leading us through a very intense retreat. And you were sharing in Gitanagari that you were 10% there, and you were sharing different numbers like that. I'm hoping that your body is fully recovered by now.
I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
And I wanted to share that it's amazing how Jiva Goswami presents a very analytical analysis of a subject that's really about love.
Yes. There's elements.
Yeah, and it's broken down into these aspects and components, and this leads to that, and cause and effect.
And very, very precise.
Even though it's such a rasika topic.
Yes.
And I often get lost in philosophical discussions.
That's why the preamble. I hope you people are ready for some philosophy.
So I really appreciated the bite-size presentation. It was just right for my intake abilities.
Yeah, it was short, purposeful.
And I'm also appreciating how by studying the life of Srila Prabhupada, aspects of this love can come to reality for us, and we can actually see love in action. Otherwise, it can be quite theoretical for me. But just those little moments in his day, all throughout the day, how he demonstrated this love and how it seemed apparent how Krishna was reciprocating with him, just really brings what you shared today to life for me. Thank you, Guru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Guru Maharaj, I'm trying to understand the word envy because the meaning of it is hazy to me. So can I take envy as like because I have a bodily conception of life, I have envy, or I don't have bhakti, that means I have envy. Like,
Go. You have to go back and back and back and back. It's far. There's layers, but those layers are resting upon something and resting upon something and resting upon something. The to help understand the layers, understand what's beneath the layers. It's it's an attitude towards Krishna of envy. What's that? He has something I want, but I want what he has, but it's not something I can have. So that's an emotion towards the one who has, and ultimately the envy of someone is resting upon envy of Krishna. That our material existence has its foundation. A competitor, Krishna's competitor. A simple illustration is a little boy, and he sees that the little boy has something, a ball, and he wants to have. In one of the parts of what is the difficulty? Prabhupada was narrating a pastime in his childhood when he was with his mother, and they were going through a marketplace or something like that, and he saw a little toy gun. And there was some back and forth with his mother, and so she got him a little toy gun, and then he wanted one for both hands. And he was having a little tantrum, and so he got what he wanted. He got, a little toy gun for both hands. And Prabhupada was making, fun of it, but he was making a point to Shrutakirti that I was always very focused on what I wanted, and it's just this yatartham principle. So where does that toy gun come from? Where does the fulfillment of any? Krishna is the source, and by the grace of God and his father and so forth and so on, he understood whatever that is that he had a very fixed idea as a great acharya. It manifests because that's the way things work for a great personality. Precisely. With difficulties and bumps in the road and all of that, but it's that the reciprocation is with and from Krishna, and there having that consciousness, everything was in relation to Krishna. Seeing the sky was in relation to Krishna. Tasting water was in relation to everything was in relation to Krishna, because he's the source. And it was how he lived his life. What Sri Radhika was commenting, these biographies of those that intimately associate with Prabhupada, aside from, hearing him speak in a public place, being intimately connected with him, it wasn't a time that he wasn't with Krishna, etc., 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 etc. So back to what is envy? He's my competitor. I have an opposition in relation to him. So that strips away the possibility of love. And even if you paint it on cosmetically, it's not what real love is. Then how do you go through the layers of cosmetic to get to the real thing? Well, they're different. Krishna will help you. One of the ways he helps is ordeal. that's nice. It doesn't feel nice, but it's nice. It's a loving reciprocation.
There was one slide, Guru Maharaj, where we were talking about Swarup Ananda and Swarup Shakti Ananda. So I'm not understanding, Guru Maharaj, like what's the actual difference between this?
Okay, we did it twice. We'll do it a third time. A phrase that at least Bhanu Swami as the translator place, because in English maybe an easier way to. So it's an intrinsic ananda, like Satchidananda. It's of his nature. That's easy. And then in addition to his nature, he has Shaktis that aren't separate from him, but they're not him. It's of him. It's an aspect of him. And then that aspect of him, Sarup Shakti, Ananda, has a pleasure-giving power in addition to, supplemental to his intrinsic Ananda. And that the experience of that being invested in his devotee, who then renders loving service to him, it's above and beyond. It's a different type, different category. So it's layered on top.
So, Guru Maharaj, is there any similarity between Swarup Ananda and Atmarama Shloka? Like,
Yes, they're the same. It's just using a different term applying to the same phenomena. Atma Rama and Swarup Shakti, Swarup Ananda. It's okay? Okay.
and Guru Maharaj, I have second question also. I was just trying to see how I can form the question. It was so hard for me, but hopefully I'm able to. So, Guru Maharaj, about this slide, right? Like, be present. So, there is one shlok, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. So, Krishna reciprocate to the degree of one surrender.
Yeah.
Right? So now...
That's not exactly what that slide says. But go ahead.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. So now when I see this shlok, I have one thought that is it only for Ananya Bhakta or Shuddha Bhakta? Or
No, that's why I said they're different.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
You get the last question.
So, Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So my question, and always I confuse when we heard about these pastimes where one devotee is performing bhakti and Radharani or Krishna is reciprocating in their love, right? Like in this case, he was thinking of serving his brother to offer a sweet on his birthday, right?
Yes, okay.
So Srimati Radharani reciprocated with their relationship, right?
Yeah.
But now Sanatana Goswami is chastising or he's commenting that why you are engaging in service to
Yeah.
So I mean, how we can
love.
understand? Yeah,
It's love. Why shouldn't he?
I mean, here 2 points, right? Like the relationship between Srimati Radharani and Jiva Goswami, and then
No, it's Rupa, not Jiva.
Rupa Goswami, and then Sanatana Goswami is like saying that you should not be engaging Radharani in your service. So,
Well, so what's the problem?
Problem just understanding from Guru Maharaj that
The heart of Sanatana Goswami is what the heart of Sanatana Goswami is. And the heart of Rupa Goswami is the heart of Rupa. So he wants to serve his brother. Mm-hmm. And he's not thinking, wait a minute, this is going to it's going to send my brother through the ceiling because it's going to give him ecstatic symptoms. So I can't say yes to this young village girl that brought the ingredient for making sweet rice. You know, the lady said, "This is your brother's birthday. We thought you would be happy to make something for your brother for his birthday." So it's plausible. Oh, how nice. How thoughtful. Yes, it is my brother's birthday. How, so they're vanilla, strawberry, or raspberry. What's your favorite flavor? Or mango, So they're different. They're differences, and the differences can move from one moment to the next moment. And that's the nature of bhakti rasa. At least, this is a conventional story. Exactly what happened, who knows? But he then invited, try some. He didn't stop because this was service from Radharani, and now we're accepting. So it's a flavor of bhakti rasa that he was experiencing and relishing. Okay?